How would Steve?
How would Steve define loyalty?
Oh man.
I think
Yeah, you talking now.
I think the interesting thing about Steve was, and I think he really did sort of vibrate on a different level when it came to these things, and it came to people's relationships. Somebody once said that he was the least sentimental person he'd ever met, and sentiment is where emotion lies: empathy, knowing, loving, remembrance. The sentiment is the past. It's simply connecting to an emotion that you had felt, and he never lived in the past on any part of his life. It was always what was next. So I think that he would define loyalty in a very different way. And he would probably even get defensive if you'd ask him, because his loyalty probably had been questioned so often in his life. But I think that he was loyal to his vision, and he was loyal to the one thing he wanted to bring the world. And I said earlier in the meeting that it dawned on me very recently that he wanted everyone to have this stuff, this technology, and of course the bane of his existence, which by the way still exists to some extent, is this price point for a lot of his stuff, where not everyone can participate. But I was recently somewhere where I saw a busboy had an iPhone, and a very, very wealthy producer who was eating this lunch had an iPhone. And it was the great leveler, finally, because of the system that can occur with that, everyone could have this device, from somebody making, $5 an hour living in the barrio to a guy who lives in Beverly Hills. Everyone could, And so I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I think he was loyal to what he was trying to achieve. And if you were loyal to that too, he loved you. And if you didn't, then you didn't understand him. I mean, that's my impression. I don't know.
Good answer.
I don't know, and I don't want to guess. I honestly don't know.
It is kind of the great conundrum in those relationships he has, especially with the early Apple employees. The loyalty he feels to them.
Do we want to dissect this in this room only? I'll dissect this in this room only if we want to Okay, so while there were some early Apple employees that did not receive stock, and I acknowledge that and understand that, Daniel Cockey in particular, who's probably been the person that was the loudest and most vocal about not receiving stock and actually decided to make press for himself around the fact that he didn't receive stock, actually left Apple when it was about 5 to 7 employees and went back to Columbia to study music, and only came back to Apple after Apple was already trending upward and starting to become successful. And so, I learned this while studying the character and so really digging in. I think Steve was extraordinarily loyal to people that he felt were loyal to him. And I don't think that he had a relationship or a historic relationship in his life that he felt that he trusted that many other people's loyalty, and therefore I think he was pretty sparing with his. So that would be my short answer.
I think we have time for one more question.